Sometime around 2012, I was in Paris with my wife, and we made a visit to the Institut du Monde Arabe, which is a great museum of Arab culture. And at that time, the museum was completely given over to an exhibit about the Arabian Nights, and particularly to the character of Scheherazade, the mythic wife of the prince who had to keep telling more and more inventive stories every night to save her own life from this very warped and vengeful husband that she had. I was somewhat entranced by thinking about Scheherazade. Of course, you know, every musician is aware of Scheherazade through that famous big symphonic poem by Rimsky-Korsakov, but I knew that she was a character with a lot more depth and color. And when I got back home, I started reading the Arabian Nights to see if I could find out more about her. And what surprised me and actually appalled me was how brutally, not just Scheherazade, but most women were treated in these stories. So I had the idea of creating a contemporary Scheherazade, an empowered woman, a Scheherazade that could talk back to authority, or as we say in contemporary parlance, who could speak back to power. And it worked beautifully because at the same time I was bent on the idea of composing a work for the great violinist Lila Josefovitz, a truly empowered woman herself, and a woman whose grace and beauty and personal power on the stage was something that I thought embodied an empowered woman. So Scheherazade.2 was created, and it was so large and so vast a piece. By the time I finished with it, I decided to call it a symphony, and I borrowed the term from Berlioz, the dramatic symphony, which is a term that Berlioz used for Romeo and Juliet and the Damnation of Faust. In other words, a symphony, but a symphony that had a narrative, that told a story. And Scheherazade.2 tells a story, but only in the most elusive way. We were presented with this very beautiful and wise young woman who is pursued by true believers. And she uses her power and her intelligence to escape them. There's a love scene which is both violent and tender, a movement which I call Scheherazade and the Men with Beards, where I imagine her being tried by a court of religious authoritarians who condemn her to death, and then a final movement in which she escapes, she flees, and she finds sanctuary, perhaps in the company of other women, perhaps not. I leave the details of the narrative to your own imagination.